Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Electro Study. This is lecture series 20, Computer Networks, dealing with Network Address Resolution or Network Resolution Protocol. Come, let's go into the video. Please do like, share, subscribe and comment. So before knowing what is network address resolution, I'll be just giving you a small introduction about what is IP address and why we need it. So whatever device you connect to a network through a internet or router, you obviously need some unique label to identify which client or which server is accessing the network. So that unique label is said to be the internet protocol address, or more specifically it is called as IP addresses. There are two types of IP address: private and public IP address. This private IP addresses are used in land side, that is a small geographical area. Public IP addresses is used in WAN side, that it is provided by an internet service provider. Generally, this private IP addresses, wherever we are using, it is of free. But public IP addresses are always paid. There are some ranges of addresses that has to be seen. So the range of IP addresses with some number 65,536 bits, if bits or bytes it is having, then this will be the range. Same wise, depending upon this bits or bytes, the IP addresses are allocated, the range of the IP address will differ accordingly. So this 255.255.255 is the last most range that is provided for the IP address. Next is what is NAT? That is network address translation. So before seeing about network address translation, the distribution of addresses through different network service provider has created many problems. That is, when an ISP, actually we have seen that this internet services provider used to provide address only for very small businesses or some individuals or for household. Have you ever thought, when this business grows or the individual or household need a wide range of network coverage, what these network internet service provider will do? Question mark, right? So already, because the other address spaces will be allocated for other networks, so obviously it is a problem. So here a technology that can map between the private and the universal addresses and at the same time give a support virtual private networks is said to be this network address translation. This allows to use a set of private addresses for internal communication. See, I will be explaining this what is NAT in a very simple form with this diagram. See, you have a private network. This is using a private address. See, private network is using private address. Now, these two private networks are connected to a router. That router is connected to the server. Now, this router that connects the network to the global will have one private address and one public address. That is, it will be having the address of the client, and that will be, which will not be directly shown or visible to the server. This private network will be invisible to the network that is server side. The rest of the internet sees only the NAT router. The server will be seeing only the NAT router with the address 172.122.42.41. So this address will not be directly visible to the server. The router address only will be directly visible to the server. Now, this NAT is divided by using one IP address and multiple IP address. So using one IP address, what happens is the translation table will be having two columns. That is your private address 1 and external address 1. That is inside local IP is private and this is global 1. When the router translates the source address of the outgoing packet, it also makes a note of the destination address where that packet is going. See, now this is the private network. The address of the private network is stored in this table. Now this is translated when it is going to the router. Now going to the router, any one of the address will be going to the router, and this router's address will be visible to the destination address. So when you're connecting this network to the internet, that network will be provided, the IP address of the network will be provided in the table, and the corresponding server destination address will be provided. So the same will be done accordingly. So before doing this, what happens is, here we have mentioned SA as source address and DA as destination address. So after assigning source and destination address, it makes a table entry and it changes the source address, access the table, see the table whether the address is being used, and then change the destination table corresponding to the client IP address. Now using both IP address and the port address. So this is what a multiple usage. So see here, to allow many to many relationship between private network and the external server, we need more information in the table. Not just your source address and the destination address is enough. Or you should have a furthermore information that the port communication. So the source address will be stored, destination address will be stored, and it will be indicating the communication through which port it is happening. So within that port, you can identify which client is accessing which server with what IP address and through which port. So it is easy in many ways. It can easily find what information is transferred from the server to the client. It can easily find what is the address of the server, address of the client, and it can also see if there is any lost losage of frames or messages. Then it is easy to find because we already know about the port through which it is communicated. So this is the advantages when you are using network address translation table. Hope you have understood. Stay tuned for more information. Thank you.